Are there any ailments or diseases that people have come to you with that have just diet's not going to do it, or does diet can it reverse pretty much anything?
Well, it can reverse chronic degenerative conditions, and the extent to which it can do it depends upon when people arrive, and how much work it is depends on what condition they're in when they arrive. So, let's take a couple of examples here. If you have lupus and you were diagnosed last week, and you're saying, before I take any of these steroid drugs and that sort of thing, I'm going to look at options, it's going to be a lot easier to fix that person than it is the person who has been taking drugs for lupus for 15 years before they show up.
Yeah.
Diet will be very important in both cases, but a much longer recovery road for the person who's been sick and medicated for a long time. Now, there are conditions where I don't think you're going to eat your way out of an injury, for example. You were in a car accident last week. A baked potato may not be what you need as much as surgery to put your leg back together. And I think that there are certain emotional and mental disorders where counseling is required, some type of therapy. But having said that, diet even has a profound effect on those things. For example, if you have an injury, the level of inflammation associated with that injury is very much affected by your diet. And how well you recover from surgery is affected by how much inflammation is caused by your diet. So a person eating a plant-based diet, very low inflammation levels, heals much faster than a person who's eating a more meat-based diet. Same thing is true with mental and emotional disorders. I have said for a long time, based on my experience, that a lot of people who are being told that they're depressed are not well fed, well hydrated, and well exercised, and it's amazing how their whole attitude changes when they start eating and working out and that sort of thing. So I think even the effect of diet on mental and emotional issues is very, very profound.
Yeah, especially I think hydration. Hydration is a big thing. When someone's dehydrated, quite often they're in a foul mood, and then once they get hydrated,
Right.
their spirits come up again.
Oh yeah, well, and the other thing too is when you don't feel well, you're not in a very good mood. You don't
Yeah.
necessarily think clearly.
Mm.
Just think about the last time that you had the flu or something of that nature. You probably weren't at peak, right? You weren't
Mhm.
ready to go out, enjoy time with your friends, and all that sort of. Well, it's unfortunate, but a lot of people feel that way every day.
Yeah.
They eat terrible food. Their
Mhm.
brain is not getting enough glucose, oxygen, and water to function properly. They're tired, they're overweight, they're worn out, they have aches and pains. And then they go to a doctor and say, I don't feel well, I'm not sleeping well, I don't really feel like going out with my friends. They say, oh, you need Prozac. Well, no, you don't. You need a couple workouts in the gym, some good solid nutrition, and it's amazing how much you might feel like going out with your friends and doing other things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think a lot of people think they have a Prozac deficiency, and then they go and get their fix.
Yeah, well, and unfortunately, these drugs aren't very effective. It's sort of off topic here, but and just as we know that many of the drugs that are used to treat diabetes and coronary artery disease don't really address the problem and don't keep the patient from progressing, the
Right.
diseases continue to progress. I think the same thing is true with mental health issues, where these anti-anxiety, antidepressant drugs, I think I read in a couple of articles, 70% of the time they're not effective, and that's why people end up taking multiple drugs.
Hmm.
And then they don't address the underlying issue.
Yeah.
If you're getting divorced and you have financial problems, you don't need to be numbed out. You need to get a job, sell your house. You need to get your life in order. And
Hmm.
so these drugs don't address the underlying problems there, and I don't think they're a very good idea.
Sure.